6 or 7 of the team, we go in shopping, but we don't go shopping. We find a little boozer. This is a true story, and we didn't go stupid. We only had 5 or 6 pints.
So, the first round at Salonica, dispatched fairly comfortably, at least at home. I think it says a misprint. It says Wark 4 goals, 3 of them penalties. I think right, surely.
That's right. Yeah, that's how every home game. I think I scored in every I think it was all the home games. But to start, and my mother-in-law then was from Greece, so I knew a few of the words and all that in the tunnel, which went down when I was talking to the opposing team. But to play against them and score, he won 5 and score 4, and I got 3 penalties, so which is, and I always thought when I got up any penalty, it was a goal, and luckily, I put them in different places in the goal and got a hat-trick of penalties and scored another one, yeah.
So to get 3 penalties, the question has to be, who was it that was diving for you in the box?
Do you know who always... It's Eric Gates. Eric Gates played off the front too, and he was one of them, when he was near the penalty area, he used to go one way and then go the other, and he used to get clipped all the time, and it was down to him how I got all these penalties. And as I say, I'm glad he kept doing it, because I scored most of the penalties, yeah.
You made a point there about talking to the separate players in the tunnel.
Yeah.
Nowadays, with skyview cameras everywhere, and the players all shake hands and a wee hug. Was it completely different back in the 70s and 80s?
Yeah, people used to, start swearing at players and telling them what they're going to do to them on the field. That used to happen a lot, and it happened, it's a lot. Players in our team, like Hunter and Beattie and Paul Mariner, they used to go up, try and square up with the centre backs and say, you're going to get this when you go outside, just to try and scare them off. But it was just good banter, and usually now and again it did happen. Things did happen on the field, but you were allowed it then.
Mm. Well, the next tie is Bohemians Prague. Again, you get 2 at Portman Road. And it was a trip to Portugal, a trip to Poland, to play Vijay's and Lodges.
Yeah, lots, yeah.
Hat-trick again by Wark.
Yeah.
Just can't stop scoring.
No, I was just, honest, every game I was just, up for, I seem to score in most games, especially the home ones. It was like, we actually won the tie, most of the ties from the many goals we scored in the first leg at home, you know what I mean? So that's how we went all that way. We had our strongest team out, and as I say, we thought if we scored 3 or 4, then the tie was more or less over.
We're looking at Portman Road right now. Is it a boisterous atmosphere when the European ties were on?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it was a full house, and that's when people were standing and used to sway about and all that. And in Europe games, you're playing all these top teams, and when you're beating them, not just beating them by the odd goal, you're beating them, 3 or 4, you know what I mean? And that's used to happening. So I think a lot of teams were scared of us before they even came out, and I think that's how good we were.
Well, you played St Etienne in the quarterfinals, and you were talking about a club that were in the 70s. They were a huge name in European football, and 4-1 and then 3-1.
It's scary. I talk about the 4-1 game because I think they hadn't lost in 30 games at home. You know what I mean? They've got Platini, Johnny Rep, Larios, famous French international players, and we go there and I've actually got to tell this story before the result, and this is a true story. We actually got there on the kick-off was the Wednesday. We get there on Tuesday, and we do a bit of training, and then Bobby Robson says to us, you've got the afternoon off, you can go shopping. This is the day before the game. So we actually, 6 or 7 of the team, we go in shopping, but we don't go shopping. We find a little boozer. This is a true story, and we didn't go stupid. We only had 5 or 6 pints, which you shouldn't have any, right? So we get back to the hotel, and Bobby Robson realises, you know, he can smell the drink, but he says, you're fined 2 weeks' wages. So you're like, oh, how are we going to pay the mortgage? All panicking. So we get to the game, St Etienne, and, you know, as I say, full house, they've not lost. And the game gets going, and they go 1-0 up, you know, right away. Johnny Rep, I think, scored. We scored 4 goals, and I got one of them, 1-4-1. We get it back into the dressing room at the end of the game, and Bobby Robson goes, forget the fine, boys. And the other 4 go, what fine? He says, Bobby goes to them, well, while you were shopping, they 7 were having a few drinks. So that's a true story. We went and beat St Etienne 4-1, and then we beat them at home 3-1, which is to beat a team 7-2 who the players they had, and you know, they hadn't lost and whatever, and we go and do that.
And you had to take on Cologne in the semi-finals, and they were a huge club at that point as well. I think Tony Woodcock was playing for them up front. This seemed to be more a disciplined European performance, 1-0 wins in each leg. Is that how Bobby set you out?
Yeah, it was, because they were one of the hardest. We knew they were probably, you know, the German teams are hard to beat, and this Cologne and were playing well at the time, and it was a real hard game. So we were happy with just the win, and it was but then to go back to their place and then beat them again, you know, it just shows you what sort of players we've got.
Which takes you to the final, and then in those days it was 2-leg, home and away.
Yeah.
AZ.Alkmaar, and it was a reasonable first leg, 3-0 win, yourself with another penalty.
Yeah.
Was there any risk that you were thinking, job done, before we go in the away leg?
I don't think, that's what people think, because, you know, you look at the score, but the first leg at home, we played really well, and they weren't really in the game at all. So I didn't. So, but when we went to their place, the tactics that got me was like, they just played 2 at the back. You know, they actually went for it. You know, they went all out attacking, which you have to do in that case. And then in the end, there were 3. Luckily, we got goals over there, and it was 5-4 in aggregate, I think it was. But we were actually quite lucky in the end, because it was like the Alamo. We were hanging on at the end in the second half. But for a team to go like that, you've got to be such, you know. I've never seen a team play like that with just two defenders and the rest all attacking.
Well, the full-time whistle goes, you're back in the dressing room. What happens? What happens when you win that, the UEFA Cup away from home like that?
Well, it's just, you know, we were, you know, we didn't know if we were going to win anything else, you know, so it's the first, our team, in my opinion, we should have won the treble, in my opinion, but the thing was, to win in Europe the way we did, we played in all different countries. I think it was at 6 different countries or 5 different countries, and we beat most of the teams quite comfortably, apart from the actual final game at Amsterdam. But I just showed you the team we had. You know, we had a fantastic team. You know, but the problem was we didn't have a big enough squad if we had a squad of, I don't know, nearly 20 players or whatever. We only had a squad of 16, and we played 66 games and won the UEFA Cup, came second in the league, and get beaten in the semi-final of the FA Cup. How can you do that with, you know, a squad of 16?
For you, how did winning the UEFA Cup compare to the FA Cup?
It was still up there with, you know, because you've won a trophy. I always think the FA Cup, as I said earlier, was the best one because it was the first one. But to win the Europe the way we did, you know, beating all these different countries, you know, and beating them quite comfortably, I think probably it's a better performance as such, because the FA Cup was just a one-off game as such. But to win all these games the way we did, it showed you what sort of team we had.